two bicuspids slated for extraction. Well, it's an aesthetic area, and as you'll see, let's see how we're going to solve this clinical challenge today. Well, there will be this will be approached as immediate implants and reverse PET. We'll see what it is all about, reverse PET, and I'll have some details highlights, and that will be about immediate provisionals, the cyst removal, because we have a cyst, as you'll see in a minute, and also the grafting procedure, where I will use just Novabone, which means I'm using a zero autologous graft. So this is teeth 14 and 15, 4 and 5 in the US nomenclature. And you can see there's a huge cyst in here. And when we go through the CBCT, we can see that there is a huge cyst on tooth number 15 and, well, little bone. If we go to the sectional cuts, we can see that there is almost no bone around tooth 15, so very limited availability. And then we go to tooth 14, there's a root fracture with some clinical symptoms, and we have also a periapical lesion. So my question is, what would be your approach here? What would you do in this case? Well, back to our case. So let's see what I did. I did partial extraction therapy, okay, but this time with no tooth extraction. No part of the tooth, no fragment was extracted, as you'll see. So let's see the step by step of this procedure. First thing is to cut the teeth transversally. Okay, once you remove it, you're in good shape to proceed with the procedure. So the first thing is to establish the entry point of implant site preparation, okay? Not to prep the shield as you do in conventional partial extraction therapy. What I'm doing here is to establishing the direction of my implant site prep. That's going to be, and I'm doing it with a round diamond from the root membrane kit. And I'm doing it further. Now I'm advancing not only in tooth, but also I'm doing the initial drilling and reaching bone. Okay, so these burrs are absolutely amazing in this question because they are long burrs and they are very sharp. So it's diamond burrs, and you establish your entry point, and you can go even further, drilling simultaneously not only tooth but also bone, and establish a good direction for your implant site. Another thing that you should take into account is that we can have infection over there. So I always do intermediate irrigation with chlorhexidine. I use Canal Pro with the 2% of chlorhexidine, so to keep the site as much disinfected as I can. So next thing, you can see that next thing what we're going to do is going on with our implant site prep. Okay, now I am using regular drills, okay, and I'm preparing my implant site as if teeth was bone. So I don't care if it's teeth or not, but I'm doing it. I'm preparing it to full length, okay, to the length that I have estimated for my implants length, and I'm doing all the implant site prep. Okay, not all. As you'll see later, I will stay a little bit shorter on this burst, shorter of the diameter that I want. But I am preparing almost everything, and as you can see, most of the time you can do it very easily. Okay, of course, this is a little bit harsher for your burrs, but the advantage that you get from having the tooth support to prepare the site is absolutely awesome. So when you end up with this beautiful picture. Okay, you can even see the initial canals, the canals with the gutta percha over there on the buccal, and you can see on the palatal that we've already gone through teeth and bone. So we have almost, our site is almost prepared. From this on, from this point onwards, what we have to do is to thin out the remaining shield. Okay, so we are reversing the socket shield. So we didn't extract not even a single fragment of the tooth. Just keep in mind intermediate irrigation. Always doing irrigation to have everything clean. And you can see that we are thinning out our shields. They are already almost destroyed because of implant site preparation. That's the advantage. So as we're doing so, you can see one of the initial images of this is that we are starting buccal prep to destroy the remaining shield. Well, a big part of it was already destroyed for implant site prep, with implant site prep, I'm sorry. So we thin out the buccal part of the root, and always with intermediate irrigation with Canal Pro, as you've seen, and we keep going on destroying. Now we call it this moon prep. With this big round burr, you destroy the remaining gingival and buccal part of the shield, so the most coronal part, and also with this round burr you touch the inner epithelium and connective tissue because you want it to be bleeding. And I will explain that later, because you want it to be bleeding so that the attachment to the intermediate abutment you're using is going to be better. So because you will extend your implant, as you will see in a minute. So that's, we always irrigation, don't forget that. So we've prepared our shield, we've thinned out all our shield, and now we have a beautiful coronal part with no shield. So one of the things that we're going to do next is to scan the post-extraction situation. So what I'm using is Immediat scan. I scan the post-extraction situation to have it and to proceed with the implant placement. Then I place the implants after doing the scanning. I'm placing the implants. Okay, as you can see, the implants are placed well and leveled or just a little below bone level, bone and shield level. Okay, so they are placed really deep, I would say 4 to 5 millimeters subgingival. Now I am extending my implants with, in this case, with multi-unit abutments. So to get the advantages of one abutment one time. So I extend my implant with the MUA multi-unit abutment. As you can see here, you can see the shield, you can see the gap. So this is a beautiful image, because from now on I will work only coronally to this abutments. So my implants are already extended. Okay, so let's see what happens next. Now I am doing the second scan. So I'm scanning the implant position with the Immediat scan. Thing is that you can do, now I'm putting the healing abutments on top of multi-unit. And now I'm approaching the rest of the cyst, okay? That's what I'll be doing. So only now, after I have scanned the implant position, this is very important. Only after having scanned the implant position will I proceed with my surgery and go on and approach the cyst. Okay, only now. So I'm raising a flap, very carefully raising a flap because I don't want to ruin this gingival architecture, which is awesome. And now you get to see what is underneath, okay? So I add debrided part of the cyst on the alveolar axis while I was prepping the site, the implant site, with the small round burrs. You didn't get the chance to see it, but and now I'm doing the external debridement with a direct access to the cyst. So everything is removed. Okay, the inner part was already removed through the alveolus, always irrigating everything because it's an infected area. So always irrigating very well, thoroughly this region. And after we're done with irrigation, now we're gonna proceed, and you can see the details of cyst removal, because the first thing that we've done is on implant site prep and through the alveolus, we debrided with the round burr from the root membrane kit. We debrided, I would say, the most upper part and the most palatal part of the cyst. And only after having scanned the situation did I go to the direct debridement, and to do that, I had to raise a flap. And that's a very important key issue because it won't interfere with your digital flow. If you approach the cyst before you have the scanning of your implant's position, well, you'll be in a lot of trouble to being able to do immediate load and immediate provisionals. So now that we've debrided our cyst, we're gonna do what we're gonna do is we're gonna graft this area. So we're using a particular graft of Nova bone, no autologous bone at all. Probably for me one of the best materials there is for you to graft. This is with PRGF and Red from BTI as well, because it helps you to transport the graft and to put it into place. And also it will help you in terms of biology because you'll get all the biology you need to that site. Now we're suturing back the flap, and 2 hours later, our lab with this beautiful digital flow has the provisionals for us to place. And you can see those are the provisionals, and everything goes back to its former position in terms of soft tissues. You can see that there is stability to the implants. Soft tissues are not moving, and this is a healed situation of 2 months. Let's see how we've finished this case, and let's go into some more details. Well, I've finished this case with 2 splinted crowns, okay, and you can see that the zirconia in every place it touches the gingival area, it's not glazed, and this is fundamental. This is essential that your technician should not glaze the zirconia, because as the zirconia comes machined, this machine part of zirconia will be awesome, will be the best surface for you to get into contact with the gingiva, because fibroblasts will proliferate and will grow and will attach to this surface. So as we've seen, I've used the implant extender concept, which is after all, is one abutment, one time concept. So surgical abutments that were placed after implant placement, immediately after implant placement, which means in the surgical procedure, and these are abutments. And I call your attention to this fact because you're looking at the abutments. You're not looking at the implants. You're not looking at the implants connection, because the implants connection is way beneath this. You're looking at the soft tissues surrounding and super attached to the abutments. And this is what allows you to finish up with this beautiful natural contour, as you can see, not ruining all the buccal convexity that he initially had. And despite at the beginning he had some recession on the bicuspids, you could finish with this beautiful contour with the final crowns on, as you can see. And this is the CBCT, the sectional CBCTs. And you can see this is 4 years post-op. And you can see how beautiful it holds all the grafting on the cyst, and how beautifully are the implants, and how beautifully everything is, and with almost no effort, so you can kiss complex goodbye. So let's wrap up the details. First detail, reverse pet. And this is probably one of the most important details in treating this case. So you didn't have to do any kind of extraction, no tooth or root fragment extraction. All you did was destroying selectively. You've just destroyed selectively the roots of the teeth involved. So the noble and critical part of the procedure is the implant site prep, not the tooth extraction, as it happens when you're doing partial extraction therapies. So that's why I call it reversing socket shield is the new pet, because you don't extract anything, you just destroy, selectively destroy. Whatever it is, selectively destroy. So we should think over our tooth extraction procedures. Well, the most common procedure probably in dentistry, we should maybe think it over, because we should not extract. We should destroy selectively whenever we can do that. So the second detail I would say is the alveolar axis for cyst debridement. And you do it generally with the small round burrs from the root membrane kit, because these burrs are just awesome for you to get down there, to get a lot apically, and you can go against the bony walls and scrap most of the cyst. So you can do an alveolar axis and debride a good amount of the cyst. Then, and this detail is very, very important, it's the surgical impression, and it can be done in 3 moments. You can do it immediately after tooth extraction, as we did in this case. You can do it after implant placement, and you can do it after surgical abutment or implant extender placement, okay? So you can do it, this is before, or any of these 3 moments, it's before you place the scan bodies. But whenever, it doesn't matter when you do it, if it is in one of these 3 moments, but you should keep in mind that you should always do it before raising a flap. Before raising a flap in cases like this, okay? Because otherwise you'll get lots of trouble with the blood and everything. You'll get lots of trouble to being able to scan the scan bodies. You can also skip any of these previous surgical and digital impressions, and you can only scan the scan bodies, okay? As long as it is before raising the flap, you put the scan bodies on. You don't have to scan the post extraction. You just scan the scan bodies. Brands usually tell you to scan before scan bodies and then with scan bodies, but you can do just the scan with the scan bodies, and you are skipping one step, and it's not an issue. I'm doing it a lot more now. So instead of doing a pre-scan of the post extraction, I do the scan with the scan bodies already on. Okay, and that's quite a thing. It's quite a detail. So now, fourth and fifth detail, implant extender concept. This is huge. This will modify your practice. This will make it a lot easier because you're ensuring several things here. You're ensuring a soft tissue attachment, even bone integration, many times. But most of all, you're ensuring the best soft tissue attachment that you can have, because soft tissues will attach to the surface of this intermediate abutment, and you will bring your finish line to the gingival level. So you're looking at the abutments, you're not looking at the implant's connection. And also same day provisionals. Same day well designed provisionals so that you can maintain the architecture and being able to finish in a beautiful and nice way. So, and the sixth detail that you should know that happened in this case, and I'm doing in most of my cases, I wouldn't say all of them, but 90% plus, and most of my cases are being done like this, is that I've come to understand that tissues heal in such a way that you can use your surgical impression to make the final restorations. So nowadays, I almost never do a second impression because I've came to understand when I was treating my cases that when I was doing the second impression, and I had already an impression that I had done for the provisionals, and the provisionals were so good that if I had something changed in the provisionals, I would do a prototype try-in, and that's all. So why doing a second impression? So in most of my cases, I'm not doing this second impressions because the first digital impression, the one that he did on surgery, is more than enough for you to finish your cases beautifully. And this is 4 years post-op, as you can see. So this approach allowed me to achieve in a very simple a way that I've tried to make it comprehensive here. But this has allowed me to achieve this kind of natural results without going through the complexity of huge regenerations, huge stagings. We're talking about 4 to 5 months to get here. So in a very predictable way that I couldn't do, I would say 11 years before. I've started doing socket shield and partial extraction therapies uh, around 11 years ago. So before that, I wouldn't be able to solve this case in this so simple and straightforward and comfortable way for my patient. And that's quite a plus, I would say. So look at the contour, the natural contour that he achieved as you end this case that was so complex, and in a very simple and comfortable way for your patient, you were able to do it.